start it one more time? You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh shit, we not. You are watching 32 teams in 32 days on the Game Time Sports Network. It's a great day, sports world. What's up to all the sports lovers, the haters, the addicts, and the fanatics? This is Larry Patterson with GT365. It's Game Time 365 Sports right here on the GTSN. That's the Game Time Sports Network. I'm frozen today. This internet, I don't know what's going on with it, but I got my man Amon in here. Man, long, hard day at work, man. Let's go ahead and pump this thing on out, man. We talking about Cleveland today. We're entering the AFC North. This team came in last place at 3-14, and not the year that they won it. They went through a couple quarterbacks. Just a terrible season for them after coming off of a playoff appearance. Let's get my thing loaded up here. Here we go. So the Browns last season 28th in offense, 19th in total defense, 22nd in the pass, 12th defending the pass. So they got some strength in that back seven. Rushing on the rushing offense, 29th. Rushing defense ranked 21st. So ended the season on a 6-game losing streak. Amon, what did you think about the Browns? Let's just get your thoughts real quick on the Browns.
Yeah, man. My thoughts on the Browns last year. Of course, a lot was riding on Mr. Deshaun Watson coming off Achilles injury, but for him to retire and miss all of 2024, that's definitely not what you wanted to see happen with your franchise quarterback, barring what they gave up for him and the money that was tied to him, all guaranteed. So going into 2024, you knew he was already with an uphill battle. Kevin Stefanski, he's made things happen with Joe Flacco and hit the playoffs with the Texans last year. So they probably overachieved, with all things considered. Myles Garrett being the constant professional that he is, whether it's a unfortunate situation that he's in with the losing team, still being the best pass rusher in the game. And then you had some key injuries last year. Jedrick Willis, I don't think he was healthy at all. Offensive line a little older. Jared Judy becoming the number one receiver there. I want to say Elijah Moore got traded. Correct me if I'm wrong, Larry. I could be wrong.
Yeah, he did get traded.
He got traded. Amari Cooper, he got traded or released. He wasn't a mainstay on the roster at all last year as well. So, yeah, you still got Denzel Ward. The back seven defense was solid, man. It was just Nick Chubb. He couldn't stay healthy with his knee. It's his second knee injury in the league. So, yeah, man, it was definitely a tough year for the Browns. But going into 2025, they have some decisions to make, and I'm looking forward to what they may do here in the next couple months.
Jameis Winston led this team in passing yards with 21-21, 13-12. Ain't that just like Jameis Winston?
Sound about right. We had that 30 for 30 in Tampa a couple years ago.
Deshaun Watson just 1148 on the yards, 5 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. I think that experiment is done. Uh, so that I think the owner, Jimmy Haslam, pretty much just said, hey, that was a big swing and miss, and it definitely was. Going on to the run game, Jerome Ford led the team in rushing, played 14 games, started six, had 104 attempts for 565 yards and 3 touchdowns. Nick Chubb just played 8 games, 332 on the yards. He's in Houston now. So I think it was only right for Cleveland to go ahead and make that move. Uh, just not starting negotiations. Just go ahead and just see if you can find your new home somewhere. I think that was the good idea. Jerry Judy here though. This is who I want to talk about real quick. And I'm very familiar with Jerry Judy because we drafted him, but we weren't able to have a good quarterback while he was there. Now, mind you, also while he was there, early in his career, either he made plays. I'm not even gonna disrespect that man like that. He made plays, but there were also times where either he would drop in passes or he was missing games. So for him to come through, played 17 games last year, 145 targets, 90 catches, and 1229 on the yards. What a career year for that man. And he also got paid as well. Um, He got paid before the season. Elijah Moore, as you said, before he got traded, 102 on the target, 61 catches, 538 yards. David Njoku still over there with 505 on the yards and 5 touchdowns. Mari Cooper was also there. The production from him was just not there. Then you also got guys like Cedric Tillman, who was drafted in this. It was his 3rd round in 2023. Big year for him coming up. And then we'll actually talk about him a little later on. Going to the defensive side of the ball, uh, Denzel Ward led the team with 2 interceptions. I mean, they only had 4 altogether, but that back seven, that secondary was pretty damn good. 19 PDs in the sack department. Myles Garrett led with 14 sacks. Hefty payday from him. Um, Everybody else just single digits, and then Grant Delpit, who pretty solid player. 111 total tackles from him. So, well, that concludes like the running back, and we're gonna go to the off season moves. Um, they did lose out on guys like Nick Chubb, as we talked about, Deontay Foreman, James Houston, a bunch of role player guys, Elijah Moore, who was already gone, Dalvin Tomlinson, Juan Thornhill, Jedrick Wills, who was pretty much like a franchise tackle at one time. Don't you agree?
Yep. I thought he was going to be the next thing to, I ain't going to say Joe Thomas, but I mean, coming from Alabama playing with Nick Saban, I thought he was legit because he was a top 15 pick, won't he? Top 10, top 15 pick. I think it was a top 10 pick. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, man. I had high hopes for Jedrick Wills, man. He just can't stay healthy, man. So, man, we'll see what happened with him this year.
Key additions for this team: Jerome Baker, role player; DeAndre Carter, another role player; Malik Collins, another role player; Joe Flacco, who we'll get into a little bit later on. Tevin Jenkins gets to his second team. Rayshawn Jenkins, the safety; Deontay Johnson, who at one point you would say was a pretty productive player when he was in Pittsburgh. And then he ended up going to Carolina. Did he go somewhere else and then go to Carolina?
He had Deontay Johnson.
Yeah,
He had a pit stop in Houston, didn't he?
I want to say. I don't think it was Houston.
Was it
It
Baltimore?
was some. I know it was somewhere, but I mean, he got to Carolina and it just didn't work out. So I want to say he went somewhere else. He went to Baltimore,
Yeah.
and he barely saw the field. So I don't even if he saw the field at all. You also bring in guys like Kenny Pickett, um, Nick Needham, Demani Casey, who's a journeyman at this point in his career, Joe Tryon, Shoyinka to add some pass rushing depth. So I'm going to let you know right now, if Deontay Johnson, I know a lot of people are not really, you know, they're not really sniffing at him, but whoever the quarterback is in this situation, if they can like take advantage of all of these weapons that they have, because you got different types. You got Jerry Judy, you got the Deontay Johnsons now. You got the big tall blanking on his name, David Njoku. You got Cedric Tillman who needs to step up this year. You got a bunch of other guys. What do you think about this receiving room?
Man, and I was thinking, as you was naming off those players, yeah, those are that's not enough, man, to me. Like, I don't see like that number one, I'm the alpha type player. I thought Jerry Judy would be that coming out of Alabama. Because I even wanted Jerry Judy that year we took Ruggs and that whole class right there. I wanted Judy myself. We ended up going with Ruggs.
I believe y'all picked 11 that year, right?
Yeah, we picked Ruggs at 11. I think Judy went like right after that. Then that's when whatever it all happened. Went down. But I don't think it's enough, man. I don't see no wide receiver that's really going to. Hey, I need to draw roll coverage to him. If that makes sense. Like even with Judy in Denver, yeah, we knew Judy was a route guard, but
Mm-hmm.
when we played them, I didn't feel like, hey, we needed to put our best corner on
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Judy. You know what I mean? So, and I'm still not saying that. Not saying he's not a bad receiver at all. He's a serviceable number two, high end number two. I just don't see him, being that number one guy for whoever the quarterback may be. He might have to be flushed into that role this year. Um,
Mm-hmm.
more than likely there's a rookie that's going to play, and you need continuity. So I mean, hey, you're paying Jerry Judy the top bucks in that room, so you got to get your money's worth. So he might surprise me this year for sure.
Yeah, the guys like Jamari Thrash, um, David Bell, who came along a couple years ago, don't ring bells. I mean, they don't. This receiving room doesn't scare you, but whoever that quarterback is, and we about to touch on this right now. Whoever the quarterback is you gotta hope they sling the rock, man. I mean, you're not gonna put no faith in Joe Flacco, who's at age 40 right now. They traded for Kenny Pickett in the offseason. You pick Dylan Gabriel in the third round, and turn around and pick Shador Sanders in the what, fifth round, sixth round,
Fifth
fifth
round.
round. Pick Shador Sanders in the fifth round. I'm gonna ask you, who do you think comes, or who is the best fit at quarterback in this situation? I know that's kind of like a hard question to answer right now because training camp hasn't gotten here yet. But if you want a quarterback to service these skill players and behind this line, who would it be?
Uh, yeah, that's a kind of a wide open question because what I really want to say is, hey, the quarterback's not on this roster yet. That's who I think can serve these wide receivers. He'll be on the roster next year. But, we got to choose from Shador, Dillon, Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco. I'm going to go with Joe Flacco right now just because he's a veteran in the locker room, in the quarterback room. He knows Stefanski's system. He's been in the playoffs with Stefanski, and he can get the most out of these wide receivers right now. Now, long term, I'm going to say if I had to pick between Shador and Dylan, I'm gonna give Shador the nod. And when I say this, I don't, hey Browns fans, if y'all there, I don't mean no harm by this, or whatever. But politics is going to play a little role in it. The fans want to see Shador. Shador is a hot button topic. We already know who his dad is, what his dad name stands for, and I think Shador was a great college football player. I think he made some good plays. He made some horrible plays, took sacks or whatever. But me and you discussed a while back during the NFL draft for you to take Dylan Gabriel in round 3. That doesn't have the strongest arm. He's got a short stature. He's probably have to drop back a little further in the pocket to see over the line. But I think that Shador pick was a call from up top, and Jimmy's a smart man. He know what part of being an owner is putting butts in seats and getting season tickets sold. So people gonna want to see Shador, and the pressure's going to be on the offensive staff and Stefanski to make that happen. Just if Joe Flacco doesn't get them off to a great start, they want to go say, hey, what do we have in the future? And I think if there's one guy that I would pick, it's probably be Shador to take that helm over. Not saying Dylan Gabriel can't do that, but I just think calls from upstairs will come and say, hey, I want to see this guy on the field.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I agree with you there. I don't know. I think we already know. Well, why he fell all the way to where he fell is just ridiculous. Now, the only reason I heard that he fell that low, Philadelphia was about to trade up to get him. And that's when Cleveland swooped in and got him. Not understanding it, but you know what? He's a Cleveland Brown now, and I'm pushing for him to win the starting job for real. Because if you look at what Joe gives you, I mean, he can give you something here and there, but is it going to be, for the rest of the season?
Sure.
Kenny Pickett, we already been there and done that.
He probably will be traded. He probably gonna be traded, to be honest with you. Kenny Pickett probably won't even be on a roster, to be honest with you.
I can see that. Dylan Gabriel, as you said, not the strongest arm. And Shador, he got neck for not having the strongest arm either. But with Dylan, I can see, some underneath mid-range stuff. There's stuff that's really not going to, make it spectacular. They're gonna have to definitely lean heavy on the run game. You got Jerome Ford, who's shown some flashes. You pick up with Quishon Juggins in the second, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan Sampson from Tennessee. You also pick him up as well. That's going to be an interesting quarterback. That's going to be an interesting running back room when the training camp gets started. What's your thoughts on Quishon Juggins and the Dylan Sampson picks, and how do you think they'll fare out?
The Quinshon Judkins pick, there was buzz that he was going to go beginning of the second round if he didn't go late one. And him and his Ohio State teammate Travion Henderson probably went 2-3 picks from each other. So I knew Quinshon was going to go real early in the second round after Marion and Genty. I knew that he was going to go. But my favorite sleeper running back of this draft, I know yours is probably RJ Harvey, whatever. But Dylan Sampson, man, like he's a hard runner, playing in the SEC at Tennessee. He doesn't turn the ball over. I think he maybe have like 2 fumbles in his 4-year career at Tennessee. He doesn't turn the ball over. So he's a reliable, ball carrier. He runs between the tackles. He's physical. And he gives you some catching ability out the backfield as well. So I really like, Dylan Sampson coming out of Tennessee. And also what Quinshon Judkins can, do for you as well, as we're seeing through the college football national championship playoff run they had. He was a key component, in getting them that trophy. Also, what he did at Ole Miss before he transferred to Ohio State a couple years ago as well. He was on my radar then. I really didn't know too much about him, but once he got on the scene at Ohio State, he really took off. And him and Travion Henderson took Chip Kelly's offense along with Jeremiah Smith to the next level to propel them to a championship this past fall.
We're going to go to tight ends. Harold Fannin Jr. I feel really good about that pick. David Njoku is a free agent next year. Is there? Do you see any? Depending on how Harold Fannin fares off in training camp and preseason, is there any way you see David Njoku being on this roster come the start of 2026? I mean, 2025.
Yeah, and Joku will be there. He definitely be there because he's a good security blanket for Flacco, or if one of those rookies take over mid-season. So yeah, I think Njoku will be there this year. Um, Now going into next year, it's a little.
That's gonna be a little iffy right there.
It's gonna be a little iffy only because Harold Fanning had so much promise at Bowling Green. And I think that translates well to the league for him. So, I mean, if there is a guy that can potentially take Njoku's spot and solidify taking his spot, it will be Harold Fanning. And plus, they drafted him in the third round, if I'm not mistaken, Larry. Normally, when you draft somebody in the third round, you're going to be a starter at some point. So I can see him definitely supplanting David Njoku going into 2026 and Njoku moving on somewhere else.
Yeah, for as far as this season though, could be a nice little two tight end
1-2.
weapons right there. Yeah, good, nice 1-2. To the trenches. You got Ethan Posick at center with Luke Whippler, Joe Patonio. You got Tevin Jenkins there, as we spoke on. Wyatt Teller, Zach Zinter, who was he wasn't just drafted this year, but he's been in the league 2 years and he's 24 years old. He seems to be wanting to step up this year. As far as the tackles, you got Jack Conklin, 30 years old, still out there playing at a high level. As far as the trenches, I don't know exactly what, as far as like numbers wise, what this team did as far as the offensive line. But what's your thoughts on the offensive line? Because I know there's some contract situations coming up that we spoke on before the show.
Yeah, man, it's some money out here on this line for sure, man. And it's an older offensive line as well, so you can start seeing some people come and cut casualties, and they want to get younger, man, because I think the average age of this offensive line maybe 30.
Yeah.
30, something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. So yeah, you want to get younger. Like I said, Jedrick Wills, I had high hopes from him, as I said earlier, but he just can't stay healthy. So I can see them moving on from him at next year. It's a possibility. So yeah, man, I think it's time to get younger on the offensive line and move forward in the youth direction.
Myles Garrett wanted to call for the trade earlier this off season, and then he signs a big contract. What's your thoughts on that?
Man, hey, I'm all for players getting paid. I don't really know how serious Myles Garrett was with that, saying he wants to trade, but he wrote a little nice little letter and everything. So I would say there's a little seriousness to it. But I mean, I don't care if you throw me $40 million a year. Hey, I snatch that trade request down so fast. I take it down so fast. But hey, man, we can sit around and talk about this, because I really thought like Detroit was gonna give up 2 ones for him, and I would be like, I was ready for that to happen, to take them to the next level, as we talked about a couple of days ago. Yeah, man. I think money talks. The rest BS walks. So it's kind of hard to turn down $40 million a year to stay in Cleveland. Hey, man, $40 million a year. Hey, man, Cleveland ain't not such a bad place after all. Hey, man, I like it here, man. Cold it's cold 4-5 months a year. Yeah, I like it. So I thought there was some little seriousness to it, but once they threw that money on the table for him, here he's going to retire Cleveland Brown and be one of the greats like Joe Thomas, Ozzie Newsome, those guys.
Myles Garrett leads the defensive end room. The guys you have in that room, Isaiah McGuire, going into his 3rd year, just 23 years old. So you'll look for him to step up. Cameron Thomas, who's 25, who I don't think he was a high draft pick, but I know he got picked by the Arizona Cardinals a couple years ago. And then Alex Wright, also there, who this group in particular just has, besides Miles Garrett, has to step up. Mason Graham was picked fifth along in that trade for Travis Hunter. So you grab Mason Graham, you got Mike Hall there, Shelby Harris there for depth. Uh, you think this front? You think this front has enough to bring it, or they need to bring in somebody else?
Probably to bring in somebody else. Mason Graham coming in, with the trade top of the draft last year was kind of a shocker. It was, according to I listened to another show and it said Joe Barry and I can't think of the Jags GM, but they kept it quiet for like 2 weeks. They had the framework of the trade done for like 2 weeks, and they just the day before,
Mm-hmm.
it started buzzing that hey, this may happen. But yeah, man, I think Mason Graham he helps the defensive line a lot. Opposite of Miles, I mean not opposite of Miles Garrett, but right beside Miles Garrett in the middle. He's a great run defender. He's going to give you some pass rush penetration. I still think there's room for him to grow in that area. That year that we won national championship, he was unblockable. He was
Mm-hmm.
nobody block him. The year he didn't come out, everybody was like, and I know especially me was like, who's number 55? He's just a sophomore. Who is this guy? And he's been on my radar for 2 years now, and he went where he went, rightfully so. From me as a Michigan fan, I love when all my guys go high, and it's gonna be another one. I'm just gonna tell you right now, it's another one next year. That's gonna be ready to roll in the top. We just keep churning them out. It's like a factory, man. Be like a little mini Georgia out there. But
In
yeah,
Texas.
yeah, and yes, and Texas. But yeah, man, I think Mason Graham will give them a little punch on the inside. Let Miles Garrett work a little bit. Yeah, do they need stuff from other players in their team like Shelby Harris? He's been a rotational guy. I think he's been in Denver 2 or 3 times, um, Seattle a couple times. So yeah, he's been around. He can give you some vet presence in the middle. But they need that guy opposite of Miles Garrett to take that pressure off him a little bit. So we don't know who that guy may be, but hopefully the Browns will have an answer for us come September 7th.
Yeah, you're right. You would hope so because right now we don't see it. And when I look at this roster, I see this team like halfway rebuilding, and then a halfway, hey, whoever this quarterback is, let's throw him out there and see whatever the hell we got, and let's compete. You can kind of look at it like that too. Now, linebacker. Now, of course, JOK. He probably won't be playing this year. But you drafted a Carson Swessinger, who you were pretty high on him when we was going through our draft coverage. I think he can step in and do some good things. 6'2", 242. Who's some other linebackers on here? I mean, they just got role players. They got Jerome Baker, Devin Bush, who's been in the league for a minute. That linebacker room, other than with Carson Swessinger, you really don't have a lot of hope in.
Yeah, JOK, his career might be in question because he got that serious neck injury, and they got him on the pup list for 2025. So I don't even know if he's going to be like playing ball again. So that's a huge loss.
That's devastating.
Yes.
Then when you get to that back, get to the secondary, Martin Emerson, who I feel like needs to step up. Greg Newsome, another one that since his first year he's been a pretty solid player. Grant Delpit is great. And then that the safety position, other than like Rayshawn Jenkins, who's been in the league for a minute. But other than that, like Denzel Ward still holding things down as the number one there. Overall, with this defense, what do you see the ceiling in this defense?
They can be a pretty tough unit, barring that You know, if Schlesinger comes along, Devin Bush was the top 10 pick in 2020, whatever. Top
Exactly.
top 10 pick. That's crazy. Another Michigan guy, but that's another guy. But Devin Bush been around the league. You know, solid veteran. He knows how to play the linebacker position. Bring Carson Schlesinger along. Jerome Baker. He's been in the league for a while. I think the strength of this team is their back end with Greg Newsome and Martin Emerson, 25 years old. Greg Newsome maybe 24, 25 as well. Denzel Ward being 28. And then, man, I'm going to tell you, man, I'm not going to lie, man. The way Grant Delpit played his last year at LSU, I thought this man might be Honey Badger 2.0. The way they were, boosting him and hyping him up. And I'm a little disappointed because I'm not seeing that transfer over to the league. He did get paid. Maybe this is my opinion anyway. I thought he was going to be the next LSU great DB to come out. I thought he was there on that Matthew type run. He could have that Matthew type impact, but it just hasn't came together for him in the fashion that I would like it.
Let's go to the schedule. So, week 1 they start at home in Cincinnati, right? After that, they got Baltimore. So you open 2 games of the year when in the AFC North. Then you're at home against Green Bay, at Detroit. Then you go to London. So you lose a home game, you go to London, you play Minnesota. You're at Pittsburgh. So look at this. Okay, you're at Detroit, then you go to London, and you don't even get a break.
Nope.
The next week, you're going to Pittsburgh. That's tough. The division rival. Man, the NFL really stuck it to them. Then you're at home against Miami the next week. At New England. Well, who knows what you're going to get there. Then you hit the bye week. Then you go back on the road. You hit the Jets. Then you face Baltimore at home. At Vegas. I mean, that might be a dub. Then back at home against San Francisco, Tennessee, at Chicago, back at home against Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and then you finish off at Cincinnati. Tough. Talk about tough.
Yeah, that's a tough one, man. Number one, you're a purebred hater, and I understand that. That's fine. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do. I understand. That's why I ain't even trip on it when you say what you said. Whatever. But yeah, man, like the first 4, man, you looking at first 4 all playoff team. Well, except for Cincinnati last year. Baltimore, Green Bay, Detroit, Minnesota. Yeah, the second 4, them all playoff team. And then Pittsburgh was scratching at the door. Miami did Miami get in last year? Yeah, they got in.
No, Pittsburgh got in though. But
Pittsburgh got in. Miami
they didn't do anything, but Miami didn't get in.
Okay, yeah, so playoff teams right there. So hey, man, let me tell you, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough out there for whoever the quarterback is opening the season up, because thank God they got that extra first round pick, so you know exactly where that's gonna go to. The trade package up and get you a signal caller for sure, because there's some coming out next year that you may need to go start looking at right now, because where you're picking at, I'm looking at the schedule and where you're picking at, you might be able to snag a tackle and a franchise quarterback the way the schedule is looking. But yeah, man, it's a tough one. They go September 28th Lions, October 5th. Don't even get a break before you go to London. Come back. Then you got to go to Pittsburgh, Miami, New England, 2 division games back to back, one on the road, 1 at home. Then you get your bye. Not division games, but 2 division opponents back to back. And then you come back with the Jets, Ravens, Vegas, and then a 49ers team that's probably gonna be in playoff contention. Yeah, man, it's looking real bleak out there for the Cleveland Browns fans. But Cleveland Browns fans, chime in. Let me know what you think about the schedule. It's not looking too good right now. But what you think, Larry?
It's very tough, and I don't. In defense of them, I'm not feeling the at Detroit on September 28th and then right after you finish that game, you have to get on a plane to go across the pond. And then you like I said, you lose a home game at that. Then you come right back across the pond and you gotta face a division rival. Like that's unfair. That's unfair. And then the next week you play Miami. Who knows what they're gonna look like?
Hmm.
It's just it's a tough schedule in terms of like when you get to that middle part after that fourth week, and then you don't get a bye week until like 4 weeks later after that.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Yeah, that is brutal, man. But Jacksonville say, "Hey, hold my beer." We go over there twice every year.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, who knows? Who knows? Who knows? 20 years from now, I mean, they could probably be that
be
could
located
probably
over.
be their permanent home, you know. But kudos to who the quarterback is going to be. I think in this situation, I think Joe Flacco probably has to be the choice for quarterback, depending on. I mean, you gotta play through preseason and you gotta get your reps in through training camp. But I think Joe Flacco at 40 years old would probably be the better option. Let him get beat up. not to say it like that, but if you're Shador Sanders, I mean, if you're Kevin Stefanski, like, are you confident that with this schedule right here and this team that you have, are you confident in putting either Shador or Dylan Gabriel out there? And then with Joe Flacco, no, Joe Flacco can't run.
Right. I mean, you kind of did it to yourselves. You know what I'm saying? Because you drafted, well, Joe Barry. He drafted Dylan Gabriel and Shador Sanders. So you have to, like, if Joe Flacco's not the guy, you have to have confidence in the next two, because we all know who Kenny Pickett is. He been in Pittsburgh, didn't work out there, backed up in Philly last year, won a Super Bowl. Now he's coming to Cleveland, and everybody knows he's not the guy. So you kind of have to have confidence in either Shador or Dylan to throw them out there this year if needed. That makes sense.
Yeah. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
I had something on my mind. All right, let me ask a quick question. Is Andrew Berry on the hot seat?
Ooh.
He is the longest tenured general manager right now, and that's surprising. And he's a black guy, so I mean, kudos.
Right on, brother.
But
You on the hot seat. I would this is how I would answer this question for you right here, Mr. Patterson. It all depends on if Kevin Stefanski's on the hot seat. If you think Kevin Stefanski's on the hot seat and Cleveland doesn't live up to whatever expectations the organization or front office may have, and you let Kevin Stefanski go, 9 times out of 10, that general manager is going to be gone as well. If that makes sense to you.
Exactly, because then say if
whoever comes in, they want the new regime, they want to have their GM, they pick their own coach.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
I'm gonna have to say that Kevin Stefanski is on the hot seat, just because of. I mean, and if you look at it, it's not his fault, because look at it, 2020. How long has he been there? First of all,
shoot, when was Baker?
He was there. He got there in 2020. So he got there in 2020. He was 11-5. His second season there, he was 8-9. Third season, 7-10. Fourth season, 11-6. You went to the playoffs, so you made 2 playoff appearances. And then last year, the quarterback that the GM and the owner they had to sign off on everything to make Deshaun Watson at the time this big rich contract. Like he didn't make that move.
No,
But instead, if this football team does not compete this year, he's gonna get the cold shoulder on that. He's gonna get the walking papers out of here. And I think Andrew Barry is probably gonna be that. Probably get his walking papers too, being at 6 years, and you didn't get past the divisional round. You got past the divisional round when Baker was there, but then you got rid of Baker, and then you lose in the wild card round to Houston to a rookie, CJ Stroud at the time. Like you get both of them are kind of on the hot seat.
Yeah, man, and pro sports, the owners are not going to fire themselves.
Nope.
So who's going to take the blame? The head coach and the GM. So,
man, it's a tough job in the NFL, man.
That's why that's why they but 32 seats, bro.
Real quick, let's get to more or less. So, quarterback right now is we're not even going to touch that because the same quarterbacks that were there last year are not there this year. So we're gonna go wide receiver. So Jerry Jeudy, 90 catches, 1229 on the yards and 4 touchdowns. In terms of yards and touchdowns, does he get more or less?
Less.
Okay. Less.
And you know why? You know why? And you know why I'm saying less? Because of their quarterback situation. It's fluid, bro. Because it's like you can start off with Flacco, then hit Shador about mid-season. And if the Shador don't work out, you pulling Dylan Gabriel at the end of the year. You know what I mean? And it's too much. It's too mumbo jumbo. So I'm gonna say less. Nothing that he did, but
the Browns. You know my rant that I gave you earlier when the draft happened. We was talking about the Browns. If they, the Browns do Browns things. If they start Joe Flacco and then they go to Dylan Gabriel, I think that fan base is gonna riot.
Oh yeah, man. It's gonna be nasty, bro. It may be. It's gonna be nasty.
David Njoku, 64 catches, 505 on the yards and 5 touchdowns. In terms of yards and touchdowns, does he get more or less?
More for him being a security blanket for and whoever's quarterback. What do we always say? Quarterback's best friend is a decent tight end over the middle of the field. So I'm gonna say more. Plus, he's gonna have something to prove. He has a young boy, Harry Fanning, right behind him that's itching at his heels. So he might want to say, "Hold on, young fella. Now I ain't ready to go just yet. So let me show you how this done."
The Browns were dead last in the NFL in interceptions last year, which is 4. Denzel Ward led the team with 2 interceptions. Does he get more or less than 2?
Let me tell you something, man. Denzel leading the Cleveland Browns in interceptions with 2 is crazy. Like that's criminal because Greg Newsom was a first-round pick, Martin Emerson was a second and third-round pick, maybe fourth-round pick, and you got Grant Delbert that was a high second-round pick. So there's some talent back there in that defensive backfield, but for Denzel Ward to be leading the Cleveland Browns with 2, that's criminal. So I'm gonna say Denzel gets more than 2. I'm gonna say how about 4 or 5, off the strength of just Myles Garrett being who he is and disrupting stuff. So
Grant Delpit, who he played he played 15 games in 21, 17 and 22. Because remember, when he came in the league, I think he was injured.
Yes.
Um, and then 23 he played 13 games. 24 he played 16 games. He had 111 tackles last year. Does he get more or less than 111?
I'm gonna say it's about even. I'm gonna say he about tied the same numbers. Hopefully he get a little more ball production as far as picking the ball off. So I'm gonna say even about we're in the same area.
And the last one, Miles Garrett, 14 sacks, more or less.
He turning up. He turned. I'm gonna say he might be a dang near 19. I'm gonna say about 17 and 19 for Miles Garrett this year.
Oh man, you know what? I thought you was about to say he was gonna break the sack record.
Oh no, I ain't crazy now. Hold on. I ain't gonna be like Brett Favre did and just lay down for Michael Strahan for to get the record. We ain't doing none of that. Nah. Now let me say this. Now I'm gonna preface this. I wouldn't be shocked if somebody is gonna break it. It's probably gonna be either him or T.J. Watt or somebody in the AFC North between him, Watt, and Trey Hendrickson. Somebody would break it, but I just see Myles Garrett breaking it a little quicker if out of the three.
Okay. That concludes more or less. So my prediction for this team is I feel like they were last place last year. And I feel like they could be last place again this year upon something very magical happening where Shador can come in and be that guy and just be unbelievable. I don't believe in Flacco. The run game, unless you have one of those rookies exploding. Jerome Baker, he can give you something here and there, but he's not that franchise guy. And then those that receiver, like if I'm the GM, I'm definitely adding a receiver to the room because the receivers that you have now is just you don't have good confidence in. And then as far as like the defense, I would add another pass rusher in there. I would see what Von Miller is doing at least. He's not going to play a whole season, but he can give you something. So
Oh no,
um,
Vaughn need to go ahead and put it down, man.
go
He
ahead and
got
put it in.
he got that 6 year 130 something from who was it?
Buffalo.
Yeah, he go ahead and put it
That was
down, bro.
that was crazy.
That was nasty. But yeah, he can go ahead and put that down.
All right, your final predictions.
I'm gonna say my phone going crazy right now. Um, I'm gonna say they stay right where they are. Be picking in the top five again next year, and they're banking on Jacksonville having a bad year so they can get that a higher pick. I just think if anything more than 4 or 5 wins, whoever the quarterback is, just go ahead and put the statue out in front of Cleveland because I'm just down on Cleveland just for some reason. Um,
Yeah, Adam Scheffler news going on over there.
yeah, it's over here popping over here. But yeah, I'm gonna say less than 5 wins. Be my prediction. You just want to see progress from the rookies and see if you have yeah, somebody going crazy on my phone. See if somebody has any promise going into 2026.
All right. My players to watch. I forgot to put this up. Martin Emerson Jr., Cedric Tillman, and Isaiah McGuire. I feel like all three of them have some type of spotlight on them. I think they are free agents at the end of the year. And Quashawn Juggins and Mason Graham are my two rookies to watch
Mm.
for this coming year. So I think that concludes the Browns. I think we pretty much covered everything there, man. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, man. I think for the Browns, man, this is just a year of how you just stuck in football cyborg or Siberia or whatever they say the word is. I think just stuck right there. I'm not gonna say the franchise is directionalist. That might be a little too strong,
Mm-hmm.
but what are we doing? You know what I mean? So we'll see, man. Like we'll see what Adam Schefter going crazy over here. We'll see. happens with the squad for sure. But I'm not expecting much. I don't know if I even watch a game, to be honest with you. But stranger things have happened.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement with you. Look, they've been a long way from Joe Thomas. I tell you that. So, but that concludes 32 teams in 32 days for the Cleveland Browns. We went 50 minutes. I think that's pretty damn good there myself.
Yeah, we probably went 50 minutes too long. Sorry, the break. No, I know I'm just playing Cleveland. I'm playing Cleveland fans, but yeah, man, I think that was solid, man. Solid hour talking about Cleveland Browns. Tomorrow, I'm not sure who we're going to talk about tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be between the Steelers, of course, Steelers, Ravens, and Bengals. But there's a lot that's going to be said, especially if it's the Steelers or the Bengals. It's definitely going, especially the Bengals. Oh Lord, I can't wait. But yeah, man, 50 minutes on the Browns, man. I think that's solid.
Absolutely. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Um, give us your feedback, whatever you think about the show. And tomorrow, I think we're going to touch on the Ravens. Then we're going to
Okay.
touch on the Ravens tomorrow. And good night, everybody. Until then.